It's a scary or creepy story. I don't remember the details of the conversation or anything, so it's appropriate. This is a story about a female friend of mine from junior high school. Let's call her Kaori. We went to elementary school together and were in the same class in 5th and 6th grade, but we never talked. I think she was a girl who was alone more often than not. When I entered junior high school, Kaori and I were the only other girls from the same elementary school who were in the same class. I talked to her because we were seated close to each other, and that is how I became friends with Kaori. Eventually, I started talking to another guy from the same elementary school, let's call him Junichi, and we became friends. We became like a group of 3. After a while, when Kaori and I became friends and talked about our homes, Kaori told me about hers as well. Kaori's mother's side of the family was the head priest of some rural shrine in the central part of Japan. Her father's side is from a wealthy farmer in a region in northern Japan, which seems to have fallen into disrepair. I heard that many people in this family also became ascetics or something. I was surprised to hear that. So you can see things? Do you see spirits or something? Yes, I can. What kind of things do you see? It's not something to joke around about. Kaori did not speak any further. She didn't talk about that kind of thing for any length of time, so I thought she was joking. One day, I found out it was not a joke. It was February, some months after Kaori and I became friends. For Valentine's Day, I received chocolates from a girl in another class, and I was so happy that I bragged about it to Kaori and Junichi. I was so happy that I bragged to Kaori and Junichi, yay! I got it. It's actually my first time. I love it. I want one too, really. Quote. You know, Tiroshi, my pseudonym, I don't think you should eat that. What? It's a little bit dangerous or weird, that. What do you mean? The first thing to do is to make sure that you have a good time. I don't think has any bad intentions, but he put a lot of things into it. I don't know how to say it, but it's like a curse. I might break my body. What? What are you talking about? It's like he's belittling the chocolate I got and the person who gave it to me. I got a little angry and almost got into a fight with Kaori, but Junichi said, oh, well. Junichi stopped me and said, oh well, and we ended up melting some of the chocolates at my house. I took 3 of the 10 or so chocolates and melted them. From the second one, a little bit of what looked like finely chopped hair came out. The second one didn't produce anything in particular, but as I continued to boil and dissolve it in hot water, I began to smell something strange. What is this? Is there something in this too? I don't know, but maybe it's blood. Maybe it's menstrual blood. But it could be something else. Junichi and I were both sick to our stomachs. In the end, we decided to throw away all the chocolates, even though we felt bad for the person who gave them to us. Kaori said it was a curse or something, but before that, it looked bad for my health. Kaori could tell just by looking at them that there was something in them. Both Junichi and I came to trust Kaori's I can see it. About a year later, in December of our second year of junior high school, just before winter vacation, Kaori and I were in the same class. Kaori and I were still in the same class and talked quite a bit, but Junichi was in a different class. One day after school, I was talking with Junichi for the first time in a while, and Kaori came down at the entrance to the school. The 3 of us decided to go home together. Junichi and I were talking, but Kaori wasn't talking much and I thought something was wrong. As soon as Junichi and I parted on the way, she let out a small "you" and cowered. Hey, Kaori. What's wrong? Kaori was holding her mouth and shedding tears. What should I do, to Roshi? Junichi, I might die. What? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Are you sick? What should I do? What do you mean, what the hell is? Junichi, him didn't do it, so maybe it's a relative or something, but he's killing people. I'm not sure if it's a relative or not, but it has killed people recently. He's held a grudge against him. Maybe it will come back to Junichi, too. But I also had a strong feeling that it was not possible. Sometimes people passing by would look at me strangely, so I calmed Kaori down that day and left. In the evening, Kaori called me. She said, "Tomorrow, I want you to bring me something that Junichi is wearing, preferably a shirt." What? What's that for? I'm not going to school tomorrow, Hiroshi. The most important thing to remember is that you can't just take your shirt and go to XX Park, a nearby forest park, after school. I'm sure you'll be able to bring it with you. You definitely have to bring it with you. Absolutely. Oh. He asked me before I knew what it was, but I had a return trip to make, so I did as he said. I wondered how I was going to get shirts and stuff like that. I got it by pretending I had forgotten my gym clothes, borrowing them, washing them, and returning them. Kaori was waiting for me at the forest park, and when she SW that I had brought my gym shirt, she said, "This way." She took me into the woods. After a short walk, it was eerie to see many trees with fallen leaves. What was even more eerie was that in the woods where he had taken me, there was a slightly oversized hammer in a cardboard box. I found a rather large hammer in a cardboard box. I could hear the cries of cats, more than one, coming from inside the box. Kaori, what is that? Cats? Yeah? I opened the cardboard box and found 4 cats. They looked like stray cats, but I don't know. What are you doing? I'm going to make a substitute for Junichi. Please, help me. What? What's a substitute? I don't know. Don't worry, it won't take long. It's an easy thing to ask, Hiroshi. At any rate, I did as he said. What he told me to do was really easy. He wrapped a cat in Junichi's gym clothes, as if he was putting it on, and "So, Junichi, you're here," he said. "Junichi, you're here," I thought very strongly. I think it's better to say it out loud. Maybe. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not. I understand, but you have to hold it down, okay? The actuality is, you can find a lot more than one of these. Kaori, that's the first thing to do is to make sure that you have a good idea of what you're doing. The first thing you need to do is to get a good idea of what you're looking for. I couldn't see what had happened because I was wrapped in my gym clothes. The area where its head used to be was getting more and more stained with blood, and it was no joke. What? Oh my God. Wait. Hold still. As I was about to throw up, Kaori slipped the cat out of her gym clothes and wrapped the next one around it. The dead cat on the ground, with its head smashed in spectacularly, and twitching every once in a while. I finally threw up when I saw it. I finally vomited at the sight of it. It's for Junichi's sock. I can't, she said. Then, as I told you before, just do what you think in your head. And don't close your eyes. Keep your eyes on this gym shirt. Quote. Okay. The actual, I'm not a fan of the way you look at it, but I'm not a fan of the way you look at it either. The cat, its belly crushed, was placed on the ground. Kaori's hands were covered in blood when she took it out of her gym clothes. Next in line on the ground was a cat with 4 crushed legs. and the next one was the same, and these two cats were alive even though they were making awesome meowing noises. Toward the end, I couldn't look at them anymore. I was seriously scared, and Kaori warned me several times, but I looked away. Kaori then threw all the cats into a hole she had dug and buried them. Even the two that were still alive. I helped with this. I helped with this. She said, "You didn't watch the last part, did you? I can't see it. What's the point of that? It's not good. It does make sense. I think. It does. I don't know if my arms and legs worked, but my head and body are probably fine now." After we left the forest park, Kaori and I went home, barely speaking to each other. Kaori took home my gym clothes, which were soaked in blood. I didn't speak to Kaori again until winter break. I didn't notice any change in Junichi, and I sometimes thought that the cat was a mistake, or that Kaori was just a bad person. I thought that Kaori was just a dangerous guy. But as I thought, Kaori was not just a dangerous guy. During the winter break, Junichi went home with his family to his father's side of the family, and a fire broke out. Apparently, his parents and some relatives died. His younger sister was in critical condition, but she survived. Junichi only suffered a few serious burns on his arms. I did not know about this until after the winter break. Junichi was taken in by his uncle and his wife, who had escaped the disaster. About 2 weeks later, the uncle committed suicide, leaving a suicide note. In the suicide note, he wrote that he had killed someone, and later he was arrested or sent to the police station as dead. I was really surprised because he lived near Junichi's house and I knew him. Junichi was shocked and I felt sorry for him. A few days later, Junichi was taken in by relatives far away, and moved out shortly after the start of the third semester. Kaori was right, and I started talking to her again and apologized to her. Kaori told me she wasn't mad at me, but she didn't want to answer my questions. After about a year, she finally told me what she had done. She told me about the principle of hauntings and curses, which she said she understood in her own way. In short, she said it was the power of belief. In this case, she said that by using the cat as Junichi's body, we could trick the person who was trying to haunt us into believing that we were the cat. He said that Junichi himself was saved by pretending that he had taken the grudge in that forest park. He said something else, but I didn't understand it. So I'm pretty sure there is such a thing as curses, hauntings, and jutsu. I saw it happen. I said, if I'm going to die, don't hide it, just tell me, and stayed friends with Kaori. After that, I went through a lot of strange things, but I think we might still be pretty good friends. I think Kaori is probably still a bad guy, though. Also, I can no longer look directly at the cat.